if people weren't buying so many supplements from them, more people would simply admit to not being natty. And I think when people talk about that, they're like, oh, I get upset when I learn the truth that most of my favorite influencers were on gear and lied about being natural. And it's like, yeah, but you guys create a market that allows that to exist. What do I mean? Because they need to sell supplements. And if all these influencers, keeping in mind, the supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry, and it was a decade ago. Now it's much bigger, probably well over 10, 20 billion, right, per year. It's the sort of profits it makes. An unregulated industry, minimal regulations, minimal restrictions, no safety testing required, making that sort of money. And in order to continue to sell their products, they can't have you believing that the people who are selling it and claiming to use it are on stuff. Okay? I mean, this is common sense. And most influencers out there are making at least some money off supplements. For a lot of them, they're making a lot of money off supplements. Right? And some of them who compete in tested events of various types are so heavily involved in the supplement industry, they're sometimes involved in the research, development, all these things. Hey, they have a vested interest in claiming natural, because people, if they realize that all of their results came from using pharmaceutical substances, why would they buy over-the-counter products? Like, why would anyone bother? Okay, why would they bother? So that lie has to be perpetuated. And as long as people are naive and they refuse to look at the research, okay, as long as all of you out there listening continue to ignore all the literature, the unbiased literature, the meta-analysis, all this stuff, and realize that almost no supplement in existence is going to meaningfully help you gain muscle or lose body fat. Okay, it is not going to transform your physique. A few of them are situationally useful for health purposes. Okay, a few of them. And we know largely what they are. There's a few others that appear to have other medical uses that show up in very, very high doses, sometimes can help correct certain medical issues. There are certain nutritional deficiencies that can be addressed, ranging from B12 for people on completely plant-based diets, to folic acid for pregnant women, right? All these things. High doses of vitamin K2 for people with risk for atherosclerosis, right? That's what we're talking about. But as far as you actually gaining muscle, the only one that's ever consistently shown that has been creatine. And the newest studies are finding that it's way less than we thought it was. It is almost negligible to the point of where we would have to question if it's even worth the time to mix it up every day. And I really do mean that. It is so negligible that it's not going to improve your results 1%. Okay? We need to be clear on that. No one is gaining 5 pounds of extra muscle over the course of their lifetime because they took creatine. Okay? You can just forget that idea. That's not happening. That is not even close. It won't even be a pound of muscle. So we need to be clear there. And it is dirt cheap. And it's one of the ones that people have tried to come up with all sorts of proprietary blends, remixes, everything else, because it's so cheap to make. And any of the studies that have found results show the cheapest, simplest form mixed with nothing but water produces the best results. Okay, that's hard for them to make money on. And that's about the only one. And again, it's turning out to be weaker than we thought. That's pretty much it, guys. Fat burning, anything that ever works is going to be outlawed. Ephedra was outlawed because it worked better than some of the prescription stuff. Can't compete with the pharmaceutical industry. And on top of that, they shouldn't let it. If it's something is capable of producing a drug-like effect, it should be regulated like a drug. And it was. Okay? And yes, it worked. I was around when ephedra was outlawed. I was already lifting. I had used ephedra back in the day to help me with my original 100 pounds of weight loss when I was a noob. It was over the counter. We could buy it at Walmart. In fact, that's where I did buy it. Hey, none of this stuff works. But if they tell you that, or they're admitting that they're using stuff, then no one's going to bother to buy anything. But if you people all did your research, they wouldn't be able to sell any of it anyways. And a lot of these people would have less incentive to lie. I'm not saying they still wouldn't, but keep in mind, when people forget that when someone uses an explanation, well, I don't look like a pro bodybuilder, so therefore I'm natural, that is an obvious lie. Because to look like a pro bodybuilder, you have to have the genetics to look like a pro bodybuilder. You have to be really short. You got to pretty much be a midget. You got to be really short. You need really, really amazing genetics. You need to be a hyper responder to anabolics. And you need to be an under responder to their side effects, in addition to certain muscle bellies, insertions, all this stuff. Okay? The average person, even if they use the amounts they use, will not look like them, number one. Number two, most people who are using stuff, including your average influencer, doesn't use as much as they do. And this is going to come as a surprise to many of you, but drugs have a dose-dependent response. Okay? For anyone who doesn't understand that, alcohol, the more of it you drink, the drunker you get. Okay? I think most people realize this. In other words, 3 shots of whiskey has a stronger effect than 1 shot does. 10 shots has a lot stronger effect than 1 shot. I think everyone's familiar with that. Okay, now take that over to the gear world and consider that some guys who've admitted to what they use literally use 10 or 50 times the amount other guys use. And are open about it. So you don't look like the most genetically gifted guys who use the highest amounts. That's not how it works. But they can use that excuse and then they can sell the supplements. But the thing is, the most hilarious part, everyone who's taking supplements really wants to be enhanced. Why would you take a product that you think is going to help you gain muscle and lose fat unless you wanted to be enhanced? That's the funny part. If supplements actually worked, and they don't, you wouldn't be natty if you took them. That's the funny part. So again, that's why it's even more hilarious when anyone claims that supplements worked, helped them get their physique, and that they're natural. Well, you can't have it both ways. The reality is they probably are using the real stuff. The supplements don't work, and they're just lying to sell it to you because people are gullible. But what I'm saying is, if you guys want honesty, if you want honesty from people and you want them to just tell you the truth, quit giving them a financial motive to lie. Quit buying supplements. Stop buying the number one reason influencers and people selling stuff lie about it. Actually do the research, read the scientific literature, and realize that it's all useless. Once you do that, if everybody did that and we all focused on that, and everyone quit buying this stuff, you would see more honesty. Okay, facts. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.